Really disgusting. On the way back, Markle is still throwing tantrums. We are really disgusted with the way back, and Markle is still throwing tantrums about the royals. So if anyone was still in doubt, if Meghan's interview makes one thing abundantly clear, this woman doesn't have anything meaningful or interesting to say. She doesn't have anything to offer, she has no original thoughts in that stupid head of hers, she doesn't have any overarching philosophy, and she doesn't have any reason whatsoever to be taking so much money from as well as so much space up in the mainstream media that she so obviously hates. Oh, just like she despises the British royal family, even while she still desperately clings to that title and takes money from her father-in-law, the future king who's supposedly subsidized hers, and Harry's $14.5 million McMansion that was purchased so that they could have a private life. But yet again, Meghan just sat for another major profile, and this time it was for a New York magazine. The people's princess she is not. I think she's closer to the petulant princess, and her preferred crown is perpetual victimhood. For the past 3 years, Meghan has had a global platform, but all that she has done with it is just whine about how she's been silenced, censored, and shut out. Meghan has been a public, professional winner for a longer time than she was a working duchess, and now it's past time that she finds something new to talk about. Okay, I will admit that she has one lone accomplishment. Just when we think she cannot get any more delusional, she manages to outdo herself. And it's interesting because as she sinks further and further into irrelevancy, she seems to think more of herself. She obviously doesn't have any real friends left, or even decent publicists. They were working for her because anyone with an ounce of common sense is going to say, you know what, Meghan? It might not be the best idea to compare yourself to Nelson Mandela. So anyone who has read Tom Bower's book knows good and well that Meghan is a pathological liar. But here we have her in her natural habitat, a mansion completely devoid of any personality that began backlit by the late morning light in a scene that looks like a Nancy Meyers cinematic interior, Town and Country, Goop, and Architectural Digest had in, and this only gave Meghan the chance to reveal her most authentically inauthentic self in all of her hateful glory. So it all started with the invisible help lighting a scented candle that came from the members-only Soho house. Meghan claims the founder is a friend of hers. Annual dues run a bit more than $4,000, but let's keep in mind, even though Meghan wants people to know her as a humanitarian, a feminist, and a renegade, what's also important are all the famous and rich people that she knows, and also the exclusive wealthy people, celebrity-only places that she has access to. So at one point the reporter revealed that she couldn't quite articulate what it was that she was feeling in this talk with Meghan because she didn't have the word for it. She was just moaning. It might have been the single most bizarre, crazy thing I have ever read in a celebrity profile. It was like something that came from Charlie Kaufman. So Meghan was trying to express such pain that apparently she's nonverbal, but she was also verbalizing why she's nonverbal to her profile. Who Meghan says should tell us that Meghan doesn't actually know what she's feeling because Meghan told her in her own words that there are no words for it. If you're confused, don't worry, because so am I. It was a very Kafka-esque celebrity profile, and it says a lot that the hundreds of reader comments on the New York Magazine site, a self-selecting group of self-identified feminist social justice warriors, mostly talk about how she's phony, she's delusional, and she's vapid if not an outright liar. So what actually will lead Meghan to happiness? Well, she doesn't know. Seems like the only comfort that she can find from this existential torment would be sitting for some fancy photo shoots and talking to journalists who, wearing kid gloves. When handling her, she attacked the media also for misreporting her. But there is something that this, self-proclaimed genius seems to have missed. A little thing called social media has, for a long time now, allowed for unmediated, unfiltered communication between celebrities and the people, the great commoners who still, in spite of Meghan crying on Oprah or among starving African children, nobody asked if I was okay or her new podcast, which of course I'll get to later. Still, do not understand how difficult it is to be Meghan Markle. She's an unappreciated duchess. She's living in exile. This transcendent representation of some rare beauty. Why can't we just see how amazing she is? Watch out, Gwyneth Paltrow. Meghan is coming. We've got a new queen of everything, totally insufferable and annoying. And then there's Archie, whose privacy was so important to Meghan and Harry that they had to run away from the royal family. So Meghan teaches the toddler that salt and pepper are always passed together. I guess Meghan is really proud of herself for that one. Do you get it? Salt and pepper, black and white, always pass together. It's a pretty obvious metaphor for her and Harry's great love that's struggling to survive amid racism coming from the royals. Even though the Queen did accept Meghan into the fold as no royal bride ever before her. Even though the British taxpayers also spent over $40 million on that wedding and they were in the streets to cheer on this modern American mixed-race divorcee who married a prince. Now, the interviewer does not think to ask Meghan about hers and Harry's attendance at the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. We didn't get to hear her talk about the public shunning that came from Harry's family, and we didn't get to hear about the boos that came from the public either. Meghan was also not asked anything about Netflix's impatience with hers and Harry's inability to produce anything in spite of the fact that they signed a $100 million deal and it's been 2 years now. The interviewer also didn't ask about Meghan's absurd claims that the royal simply didn't care when she felt like she was gonna kill herself. We didn't get to hear about royal staffers running away from Meghan because she was such a terror to work for, and we also didn't get to hear anything about the way that Meghan allegedly bullied William and Catherine's daughter, Charlotte. Used to there was a such thing as integrity and journalism, and I will say that all those omissions make me think that is gone. If they ever do another interview with Oprah, as has been rumored, Oprah, please, this time do better and ask Meghan the tough questions. In this interview, she was pretty much allowed to do what she wanted to do. So of course Meghan went back to her default, discussing the Queen's refusal to give her and Harry every little thing that they wanted, mostly to make money off of their royal status while not owing a thing in public service. So Davis presses a little bit for an answer, and Meghan just ships into soap opera mode. She says I don't know. And then she casts a knowing gaze out into the middle distance. Gag me. I mean, how about a realistic answer, one that I'm sure was explained to her over and over again? You're not gonna get something for nothing. Go shake a few hands, cut a few ribbons, and then you can enjoy the castles and the taxpayer millions and access to the most powerful and famous people in this world. But now Meghan is basically just another hustler there to promote her podcast, the product of a reported $25 million deal they made with Spotify and one that took almost 2 years to make a single episode. And guess what it's all about? Well, because if anyone has been silenced like Nelson Mandela was, it sure is Meghan Markle. All right. And you, what do you think about Meghan Markle? Please tell me what you think below in the comments, and everyone else can also discuss her.